Right, just thought I'd take this opportunity to compare the Royal Enfield Scram, which I've got today on loan from Cooper Motorcycles, while my Himalayan is in for service. First impressions are, for me, I'm 6 foot tall, and this is a more road-based bike, and it feels to me more comfortable than the Himalayan, which is a shame because that's what I've got. It's a cheaper bike, I think, by a few £100. I think that's mainly because it's got slightly less kit than the Himalayan. I don't think there's no tripper, there's no rev counter, but neither are any real loss on this sort of bike. The style is more road orientated, sort of urban, as opposed to the Himalayan, which is sort of a mini adventure bike. Performance wise, I think it's a valid comparison because both these bikes, this and my Himalayan, have got the same mileage. This feels a little bit more sprightly, but having said that, mine's in for a service now, so I might notice a difference when I get it back. I love the styling on the tank, how the Royal Enfield is incorporating that little plastic pod on the side of the tank. I'm not so sure about the name, Scram. I think if you want this sort of bike, a sort of a 400cc single cylinder, and you're not going to go madly off-road, I think this would be the better bike and save you money. So let's go and pick up my Himalayan and see how I feel about it then. And look at all this. What a marvellous private estate. Acres and acres of land and property. Private estate. No public access, no parking or picnics, no drone flying. Massive castle. Doesn't exactly say how he got the money, but it sure wasn't through hard work, was it? He probably doesn't ride one of these. So my Himalaya is back for its 3,000 mile service. I don't know if you can hear that. I love that ticking noise, the hot engine. Anyway, just read the Scram and back onto this. And the Scram did feel a little livelier. I asked the guy at the garage, and he said because that Scram was a loan bike, it's probably been thrashed since day one. So what that tells you about careful running in, I don't know, but not a lot lively. It just felt a little bit more, I don't know, peppy, is that a word? But whichever of these two bikes you bought, you'd be happy. The Himalayan does have a little bit more kit, if that interests you. The Scram's a bit basic. This one's got the tripper sat nav that works off your phone, which I've never really used in anger, but it does work. That's the nice, like the two-tone, the blue and white. And I've done 3,000 miles on this now, and when you get one, you know what you're getting. They're 24 brake horsepower, so they're not going to set the world on fire. It'll cruise 60, 65, no problem. You don't want to cruise much quicker than that. And I think I'm coming to the conclusion now. I do need a little bit more power. I want a little bit more power. There's rumoured to be a 40 brake horsepower version of these coming out, which would be very good. But if you're just coming back to motorcycling, as I was, and you're quite tall, I'm 6 foot, so it's a good roomy bike. You'll have a lot of fun with it, you won't be disappointed, but boy, am I tempted by an Interceptor now. Now the question was, a Scram or a Himalayan? My opinion, having only done a few miles on the Scram and 3,000 miles on this, if I was just going to go on the road, I'd go for the Scram. And that's coming from the bloke who's bought the Himalayan. But having said that, the Scram wasn't out then, so that's my excuse. Also, as a side note, at 60 miles an hour, the buffering I was getting from the Himalayan just now with the small screen was more than I was getting from the naked Scram.